That's it. Let's take on our next story. Now, who can forget the brave exploits of a former Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, the late Dora Nkem Akunyili, who stood toe-to-toe with unwholesome drug barons. Current NAFDAC boss, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, is blazing the trail as well. She has raised concerns over threats, not just to her life, but to her staff as well. Professor Adeyeye has called for the death penalty for counterfeit and illicit drug peddlers. Again, she revealed the large-scale seizure of 1 trillion naira fake drugs and USAID donated drugs found in Lagos and Abia markets, Mayor.
Surprisingly, people refer to women as the weaker vessel. But when you look at it, women seems to have this inherent steel that makes them to show courage. You know that Akunyili was very popular.
Oh, yeah.
She turned NAFDAC to an institution that is known to everybody. And apart from that, she also went through, in fact, at the time, she was not only, it was not only threatened, they shot at her.
Oh, yeah.
And she almost lost her life. And Prof is also doing the same thing, because what they did in Lagos and to see drugs, counterfeit drugs that is over 1 trillion naira is huge. If you imagine how many people will take such drugs and it could affect to loss of lives,
oh, yeah.
It shows that. I want to align with that we must not treat these people that get involved in fake drugs with kick drugs, because what they are doing is also killing people. It's just that they are killing people slowly. It's unbelievable that some people will sit in their homes and they will sell chalk as paracetamol.
Oh, yeah.
And they will not feel anything about that. It's not something that should be that should not something that should be accepted. And for some people may say that the death penalty is too high. It's not too high. In China, the equivalent of the head of NAFDAC in China was sentenced to death for collecting a $50,000 bribe for approving a company that was doing children's syrup that killed a lot of kids. Just $50,000 was the bribe he collected to give the approval, and he was tried and sentenced to death. So asking death penalty for people involved in these drugs, I don't think it's too
Mayor,
steep.
You just mentioned Dora Akunyili.
Yeah.
Recall a story she told us. She said she went into fighting against illicit drugs because the sister died of fake insulin given to her. Yeah. And so Professor Adeyeye is like a chip of the old block.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. That's why I insisted that I'm proud of these two women. They've shown a lot of courage. Because, you see, when you are doing government job, it's not everybody that wants to put their lives on the line for something that would, maybe their spouse or the siblings or family will have just drawn them aside and said, you have to take it easy. They don't finish government job. You can't come and kill yourself because of certain things. So to show courage, to be able to face these people who are ready to do anything, because we are talking of multi-million naira business. It's,
Mayor BKO knows that men rule the world, but women rule the men who rule the world. That's what we were made to understand.
What I know is that if you find the right people, people of integrity, people who have patriotism in their hearts, they will get the job done. It doesn't matter what gender. You know, it is in this part of the world that we see women as the weaker vessel. Across the world, more and more women are being given opportunities. And you go to the Rwandan parliament, you see that a good number of the lawmakers are actually women. You know, they've set an example for the world. The same thing happens in South Africa. But in our country, there are just 4 women in the Senate.
And recall that in the Second
and
Republic, there was only one woman.
And the 4 women in the Senate, one is representing Abuja, one is representing Kogi,
Okay.
one is representing Lagos, one is representing Bayelsa. That's all. So what you have is from the North Central, you have a woman, and the rest of, FCT, you have a woman, the rest are from Southern Nigeria. We want a situation in which more women will be able to participate in elections in Northern Nigeria, especially the far north, the Northwest, for example. If we check the record, you see clearly that from the Northwest, they didn't even believe that a woman should contest, not to talk of even
going into
even
politics.
winning.
Going to politics, first of all.
A lot of them go into politics, but they make sure that at the level of primary or this, they don't even, they don't go far. So that is the example that Akunyili has set for us, is that if we put the right women in good positions, they are going to excel. We also seen what Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has been able to do, putting Nigeria on the world map. But let's go back to what Professor Adeyeye is saying. Professor Adeyeye is as tough as nails. When in the National Assembly they tried to extort money from her, she said, never, it's not going to happen. If you want to go for your trips abroad, whether it's for training or not, find the money. We are not going to give you money. I said, they are going to fight this woman. But Lucy, somebody who was trained abroad, worked for many years abroad, she's tried to bring those ideas to bear in our country. But the corrupt people are doing their best to make sure that she's frustrated. Now they are issuing death threats. You can imagine a market where banned drugs are being sold. She talked about a drug that has been banned in India after a BBC expose. Today it's being sold in Onitsha. We are killing our people. Our people's internal organs are packing up because people are selling. And
somebody would tell you that's
counterfeited drugs.
That's somebody would say that's business. What business?
Only an evil person will call that business.
Yeah.
NAFDAC has to be given all the protection that it needs. They went to a market, to raid a market, and they were overwhelmed by the thugs who are selling things there. They need to be given enough soldiers, enough policemen, so that they can continue this duty of preserving the lives of our people. People are producing fake alcoholic beverages. We don't even know what they use. We don't know what they use. Yes. You go in a very dirty environment, you see them producing, and it's so difficult to know which one is genuine. What we want to see is a situation in which pharmaceuticals have their own markets. Where you sell pharmaceuticals. When you put everybody together in a place like Okeani Market, for example, or Idumota, it makes it difficult for the regulators to do their work.
Even the drugs are not even well preserved there.
Yes. So, and they are doing a good job. She announced that they made a seizure of 87 trucks. 87 truckloads of banned, expired and substandard medical products. And to cap it all, drugs that you said and others sent here to help our people survive their ailments. They are being sold.
But that's corruption.
They are being sold. So how did they get into the market to be sold? Of course, even the so-called empowerment palliative grains that governments give out, some people rebag them and sell in the open market. So we have a problem with our people. But I know that NAFDAC can do a lot more.
It can.
In the area of regulating drug use in our country. If it gets all the encouragement, all the support that it needs. And the way to do it is to not wait until an idiot fires a gun at this woman. The same way they fired at Akunili. She was lucky that it was her headgear
Yes.
that the thing, the bullet took off. So she has already said that they were overwhelmed and chased away at a market. We should not allow that to happen again. If these people do not want to sell drugs that are lawful, if it's only illicit drugs that they want to sell to destroy the lives of our people, then they should be ready for battle.
So this talk about death sentence does not sit well with you?
I do not see anything wrong in death sentence. If you take a man's life, you should be ready to lose your own. If you are involved in producing illicit drugs, drugs that can compromise people's health,
vital organs,
and cause their vital organs to pack up, you don't deserve to live.
To live, yeah.
But we talk about death penalty. I also think that death penalty is right in our country for kidnappers, because when you know what these kidnappers do. Remember the Nigerian who was based abroad in the US who came home to set up an hotel and he was kidnapped in the Ogbomoso area.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, they ended up murdering him. Now, I cannot say that for that the person who has committed that murder that he does not deserve to die. But how about the implementation? The Constitution says that our laws and the judgments of our courts shall be enforceable.
Yes.
Which means that the police and other law enforcement organs are duty-bound to ensure that the pronouncement of our courts are enforced and that our laws are obeyed. But does that always happen? Even when people are sentenced to death, have our governors found the courage to sign? Governors and political leaders, they can send talks to go and beat up somebody and even kill the person. But to sign death warrant, they are too cowardly to sign. So that is what I'm frustrated about.
Makes you think we are in a quandary.
That's why I'm frustrated. So when I hear death penalty, I don't get excited anymore. Because even if that person gets sentenced to death, the judges have done their work. The prosecution has done its work beyond reasonable doubt. We've even seen people confess. At the end of the day, you refuse to sign. So that's why our courts are congested. A lot of those guys ought to have been dispatched since. But the courts are congested.
Even the prisons, even the correctional centers.
The prisons, I wanted to say the prisons are congested.
Mayor, you also know, perhaps you already know, but let me underscore it here. Disinfectants are faked.
Everything
you buy it off the shelf, and
most things are faked, and that is why I align that we must give them all the protection they need so that they will be able to do better than what they are doing.
That's it.
Because during the time Akuli made us to realize that majority of the drugs that we see in these places are fake drugs, and people have to go and buy these drugs. Even the way they are stored, how can you be selling drugs in the market? Drugs in the market, and then you put it in an hygienic place when it's supposed to be well stored. Yes, when it's supposed to be well stored. So we have to do something about that, because now this fake thing has become epidemic now, because even drinks, 80% of the drinks that you see now, expensive drinks, most of them are fake. And these things affects people, destroy their vital organs, cause deaths of people. We must not allow it. So it's important that we must strengthen NAFDAC, give them the necessary security that because it is a very serious issue. You know, it's only when you patronize top pharmacies that you can be sure of the drugs that you are buying. But majority of our people don't have that kind of assets. And then we have to do something about that.
And it's difficult to even recognize the correct
that corner so-called chemist who is not a pharmacist. We should try to...
He's even giving people injections.
Yes, we should try to downplay things like that, because you will see one illiterate that will open one backstreet chemist in one way, and then will now turn himself to a doctor and a nurse, and it's one that people will consult.
Was that not the sort of thing that killed Mohbad? When they should have taken him to hospital. You know, he now giving injections and he started foaming in the mouth. He started having goose pimples.
We have to do something about it.
They will say they are auxiliary nurse, this and that. People fall sick in their houses. they will be taking treatment.
Oh, yeah.
They will buy the, what was it called? This, the one that they, this liquid. What do we even call it?
That you diffuse, the drips.
They will now intravenous fluid.
Yeah.
They will buy intravenous fluid and be putting it in people's body. People who are not qualified. Now, if that person suddenly suffers a seizure or his condition gets worse suddenly, as it happened with Mohbad, you do not have anything.
Yeah.
You have no means of even monitoring his how his vital organs are doing electronically.
Yeah.
You have no means. You will just be in trouble. There was a guy who nearly died, one of my neighbors, all because they didn't want to spend money. By the time we eventually rushed him to the hospital, he had almost given up.
Wow.
And it was one so-called nurse somewhere that was coming into the house to come and give him drip, you know, and other treatments. All these things need to stop. Even the doctors tell me that these days they are even afraid because there are too many fake drugs in our country.
Oh, yeah.
Too many. Even they too are not even sure.
Too many.
So you are treating someone you just described that is not improving. It is because it's possible that it's not even the correct this thing. Maybe it's fake drug that you've been administering without knowing.
Okay,